asleep. Let's get started with the video. We're starting off with this first snowman DIY with a tag sign from Dollar Tree, some scrapbook paper, and I'm going to cut it out and put it down with some Mod Podge. Once that's all done, I used a bamboo skewer, and this is going to be the trunk of my tree. And to make my tree, I'm cutting apart some of these garland ties. And of course, we're going to start off at the top of the tree with the smaller pieces and then build our way bigger as we go down. I thought this was the easiest way to make a little tree. The garland ties, you can get them in a pretty good size package from either Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby. And I'm just attaching these down with some hot glue. Now, you can use whatever greenery you like. I just thought this was the easiest way to make this craft. So I'm just filling in, building up my tree. I'm cutting them at random sizes because I'm going to go back later and make everything even and give it more of a Christmas tree shape. I'm saving all those little pieces to use as fill in for later. So I have my tree all filled out, and I'm using those little scrap pieces to just go back in, fill in any gaps that I see, and make it look a little more full. You can do this any way you like. Like I said, you can use other types of greenery. Dollar Tree has some little pine picks out right now, but I just chose this because I thought it would be easier. And then I'm just going back in, trimming it up, kind of shaping it up, give it a little fluff, and that's our simple little tree. Of course, now we have to decorate it now that we've got our tree all fixed up. And there's lots of ways you can go. There's this bowl filler that you can get from Dollar Tree, berry garland, some little mini ornaments. I chose to go with the bowl filler because, well, it gives me a chance to use it, and I've had it in my stash forever. So I thought I would use these gold colored ones just to break up the red and the white. So I just hot glue them here, there, yonder, using different sizes, really random, no rhyme or reason. You just put them where you think they look good. Now, I also decided I had to add in some red and white. Now, snowmen are building this tree, and they're the ones that's decorated this, y'all. But, you know, they needed a ladder. So I'm taking 11 tumbling tire blocks, and we're going to build a ladder right beside the tree. So that way they have a way to climb up and decorate it. So I'm just hot gluing 4 pieces down on the left-hand side, and then we're going to make 3 rungs going horizontal. And then we're going to put 4 more tumbling tire blocks on the right hand side, and that will complete the ladder. Now, these were already colored this way in the package of the blocks. You can paint them any color you want. I just decided to go this route, and I'm just using hot glue for this. It will be more than sturdy to hold this together. And this turns out to be such a cute little craft, y'all. I really, really like this. It's just adorable. Since this is the Snowman Showdown, we of course need our snowmen. So I'm using random little wood circles that I've had in my stash, and I'm going to glue 2 pieces together to make our snowmen. And I did paint them using the plaster color chalk paint, just 1 coat. And then for their arms, I have this covered wire that I believe I got from Hobby Lobby. You could use pipe cleaners or twigs from your yard. just get creative with it. I cut off random lengths for their arms. I made them kind of long. And then I cut off a smaller piece to use for their little hands. And I'm just going to hot glue the little hands down to the arms. I really like this covered wire because you can kind of bend it and shape it any way you want. These guys are going to kind of have their arms stretched up above their heads because they are, of course, decorating their own Christmas tree. So I'm just going to place that down with a dot of hot glue. And I can't tell y'all how many times I burned my fingers making this video. I do have the little spatula. It's just I keep forgetting to use it and I just can't use those finger protectors. So, anywho, I cut some strips of fabric to use for their little scarves. And I just drew on a very simple face like you've seen me do 1,000 times before. And then I'm going to hot glue their arms to the back of their bodies. Now, the bigger one, I'm placing him down first, and you see he's got his arms up in the air. That's because he's got to help his buddy, and he gets to place the star on the tree. And you can see his little arm outstretched like he's placing the star on top. And I just think this is so sweet. I like the way this one turned out. I had this Merry Christmas cutout that I stained using antique wax, but it was too dark. And as you'll see later, I did go back in with some white paint. And this is how this one turned out. I think it's so sweet and adorable. Of course, you know, snowmen have to have a Christmas tree too. Let me know what you think about this one down in the comments. I want to take just a minute to tell you about today's collaboration. It is the second annual Snowman Showdown, hosted by myself and with my good friend Janice of Craftastic DIYs. If you guys love snowmen, and I know you do, please be sure to check out the playlist that I'll have linked below in the description box and in the pinned comments. I can't wait to see what these ladies have come up with. They are fabulous creators, so please go through the playlist and see what they've made. This DIY may be my favorite of all time. I'm taking one of these balls from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to spray paint it white. Now, it started raining, so I didn't get to put on a second coat, but that's not going to matter because we're going to cover this in fabric. We are about to create a snow baby. So I positioned my ball. Now these balls have like a line across the center. So I positioned that at the very top. That way it's not going to be seen. And I dug out this fabric from my stash. It's really, really stretchy. And I'm just kind of positioning it and stretching it, finagling it, because I want that covered. You're not even going to see the little lines in the ball. You're not going to see any of that blue showing through. Just trust me, you're not going to see that. So I pull and I stretch and I'm going to cut off the excess. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing. And I want to take a second to welcome anybody that's new here and welcome to my returning subscribers and visitors. I love you guys. And if you're new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing to help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Share this video with your friends and family and leave me a comment down below and let me know where you're from, where you're watching from. Okay, so I have trimmed this down to what I thought was a manageable piece. And I'm not concerned about the back of the ball because you're not going to see that. So I'm just kind of playing around with it. And I'm like, okay, Robin, it's time to glue it down. So I just use hot glue throughout this whole DIY. And I just start right there, gluing it kind of to the top of the head. I'm not concerned really about the very tippy top of the ball because you're not going to see that either. Now, if you guys have like a styrofoam ball, you could use that for this project. I had the ones that I had were too small. It's kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This one's too small. This one's too big. And finally, this one was just right. So use what you have, just kind of depending on the size of the snow baby that you want to make. So I cut the fabric down even more, and I'm gluing it around to the back. I really don't care what it looks like, but I try to make it nice and neat. And this is just going to, of course, secure it into place. And as I said, this is stretchy, so I am stretching it as I go. Now that I've got it secured around back, I need to figure out a way to get it as smooth as possible around what's going to be her neck. So, my original plan was to maybe do it up. I should have started at the bottom, in other words, and just wrap my way up at the top. And I tried that and I wasn't having much luck. So, I just decided to do it this way. I just kind of cut off the excess and just started kind of gluing down the pieces as I went. And I know y'all are going to see little pleats. Don't worry, you're not going to see it. Trust the process, people. Just trust me. This is the first doll I have ever made. And I think this is the biggest, I won't say biggest, but the most well, it's not really involved. It's really pretty easy. But at any rate, this DIY, I'm in love with it. Okay. So her sock cap and matching mittens came from the Dollar Tree, and for my stuffing, I am using a pillow from the house. So that cost me absolutely nothing. I decided that hat was a little too big, so I did cut off some. And actually, in hindsight, I could have cut it down some more, but that's okay. So I just start gluing down the edge of the hat to her head there, and I'm going to pull it down lower in the back than the front. And I'm just smoothing that out. And I tell y'all, once y'all cut these Snugadoo hats and stuff, even the socks, man, you have got lint or whatever that is flying everywhere. So to give it a finished look, I had some of this chunky yarn left over, and I'm just trimming out the hat with that. And I think it just adds a really nice, finished, cute look to our little snow baby. And don't forget, y'all, when you're done watching this video, please go to the playlist to watch the rest of the Snowman Showdown. Okay, so to make this baby's head actually stand up and not flop around, I took two small dowels and I just shoved them up in that ball. Now, this ball, um, it's not styrofoam. It's not one of those inflatable ones, but it's some kind of foam, and you just shove them up there really, really easy. So that's what's going to hold her head in place. Now, look what I found at the thrift store. This is a Carter's brand newborn little onesie. And I couldn't believe the price. I think this was $1 or something. They had a whole table full of them. And this is actually what kind of sparked the idea of making a snow baby. So I'm just going to stuff until my heart's content. This is going to be a fat little baby, y'all. This was so much fun. And I I was laughing so hard when I was doing this. I'm like, I kind of feel like Dr. Frankenstein at this point. Build, what am I making here? I'm taking parts of this and parts of that. Her insides are going to be stuffing, and she's got a ball for a head, and I don't know. I just got a kick out of it. So anyway, like I said, this is gonna be a fat little snow baby. You can make them as fat as you want. I mean, I guess if you had the talent, which I do not, you could trim down the suit, hem the suit, whatever you do, and make it even smaller somehow. Okay, so I put in a piece of floral foam, and this is what is going to hold those dowel rods in place. And I'm putting down some hot glue. It's really sturdy in there. Um, so now I'm just going to slide her head down into the styrofoam, and this is so easy. I couldn't believe I had, you know how it is when you get an idea in your head and you're like, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make this happen? I don't know. It just all kind of came together once I started working on it. So I'm going to stuff some more to fill in that around the foam, and that way she's nice and fluffy up there and doesn't feel like, she's got a big hard lump of something right there on her little chest. Then I make sure that the thing is actually still going to zip up because she's getting pretty chunky at this point. And I didn't show it on camera, but once I get it zipped up and get it snapped, I do put some hot glue on the inside of that zipper because I don't want somebody, taking it apart. Then I pulled up the little um oh, I just lost the word. The little trim there at the collar, and I'm pulling it up as high as I can and securing that in place with hot glue. And see those, you can't, you're already starting to see those pleats disappear. Now remember the part of the hat that we cut off from before? This is what I'm going to use as her scarf. So I'm hot gluing that, and just like that, these pleats are going to magically disappear. I think I forgot to mention this, but I am using a kid size hat and mittens for this project. And I don't know what it is with Dollar Tree this year, but I can't find any like bright colors. They're all real muted. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there. So I stuffed her mittens and I shoved her little arm down in there. Oh, that sounded bad. And I'm just hot gluing those to the arm there. And then I'm going to trim them out with the same chunky yarn that I used around the brim, rim of her little sock cap. And this really, really just ties everything in and gives it a nice little finished look. And if you notice, I also took two little pieces and I trimmed out the ends of her scarf. Now, this is my favorite part. This is where we get to see the little baby come to life. I I know what y'all are thinking. I can't paint. Yes, you can. These are two little teardrop shapes that I traced out with a pencil. Now, I am using multi-surface paint by Folk Art because I was afraid my paint markers would bleed on this fabric. But I'm just taking my time with a small paintbrush, and I'm going in really light. I'm just dipping my brush into the cap of the bottle and actually taking off a lot of it, just kind of wiping it on the side of the cap there. But just take your time. Anybody can do this. This is easy. I know there's a lot of steps, but this was an easy project to make. So I'm going to add just some little lines under her eye there and give her some little eyelashes just very lightly going in with the brush. I'd rather go in light, and that way you can make them darker later if you think it needs it, but that's always best. She got her daddy's nose, don't y'all think? She's got Frosty's nose. This is actually a carrot from Easter that I cut down to a size that I thought was cute and just hot glued it there to the center of her little face. Oh my goodness, she is so adorable, y'all. I can't stand it. I just can't stand it. So, of course, she needs some rosy cheeks, and I'm using the apple barrel color in cameo pink. And once this is a little stiffer brush, and as you saw, I just dipped it into the lid of the paint, and I offloaded a lot of it there onto my plate, because I can always go back in and make them darker or make her little cheeks bigger if I feel they need. But if I made them too dark right up front, I didn't like it, there really nothing I could do about it. So you can always add more. It's easier to add more, than it is to try and take away. So I'm going to do this to both sides, and this just really makes her come to life. I hope y'all are still with me in this video sitting around my craft table, and I hope you're having fun watching me create these DIYs, because I had a blast making them, and I've still got two more to show you. But this one is by far my absolute favorite, probably of all time. Okay, this just she oh, my husband just fell in love with her. I mean, he's like, "You should make more of those." And I probably will. Well, now she definitely needed to sparkle. So I'm using this oh good grief, Robin. Um Mod Podge. It's got glitter in it. Yeah, glitter Mod Podge. And I brushed this all over her little face. You see, I gave some little highlights to her eyes. And y'all, wait till you see. It does show up on camera, but in person, oh my gosh, it's just, oh, she is so cute. I can't stand it. Look, guys. Oh, she's precious. We have to name her. Okay. So comment down below what you think we ought to name Frosty's little baby girl. Throw your name suggestions down below. Maybe I'll do some kind of contest or something. Maybe. I don't know. But just help me name Frosty's baby, and be sure to let me know your thoughts on this one. This is my project that I'm calling my flop. Now, my friend said I should leave it in here. And those of you that have been with me for a while know that I always show the good, the bad, and the ugly, because no one is a perfect crafter. So here I am with these 3 foam balls that I got in a huge package from Hobby Lobby. And I am cutting off just a little bit on the bottom because I want them to be able to sit flat. So I do this to all 3 of them. And my idea is, these are 3 snowmen that were out playing, and they got a little bit too rough and they lost their heads and they ended up on top of each other. That was my idea. Okay. I love snowmen. I love whimsical, I love pretty snowmen. I love them all. Now, the reason this was a flop, it didn't really match the vision I had in my head. And number 2, I forgot to change the setting on my glue gun from high temp to low temp. So guess what happened to my foam? Parts of it kind of got melted. But I'm leaving this in here because I wanted to show you nobody is perfect. Okay. So I decided to make a base. I took a canning lid and the seal, and I glued the seal inside the lid. And I'm still not getting it that I still have it on high temp. So there's that. So anyway, I'm going on my merry business, putting them down inside of the lid, and I give them 2 coats of plaster chalk paint, the first one with a brush, the second coat with a sponge dabber. I use the sponge dabber thinking that it would give me texture. And all it did was brought out all the imperfections in these foam balls. Now, I don't know. Maybe I should have done something different. I don't know. These guys were playing so hard, they didn't even end up with their hats. All they had left were their scarves. So I tried to give them each a different little expression on their faces. The bottom one is like, oh, geez, and that's how I imagined it. And then the second one is like, okay, this isn't so bad. And then the third one, he's just happy because he ended up on top. Um, I will say, I do not like this orange Sharpie. To me, it looks more red than orange. I don't like it, but this was, I'm telling y'all, this was late at night when I was doing this. Okay. So, there's that. And see, he's got a happy face. Now, I always say if you mess up, you can fix it in crafting. So I dug out my Snow Tex. I love this stuff. If you've never tried it, I do have it in my Amazon store. It, excuse me, gives lots of texture, and you can paint it or put glitter on it while you can put glitter on it while it's wet. You can paint it. See, they fell over. They don't even want to be here. But this is how this one turned out. Now, I don't know. What do you honestly, be honest, what do you think? Let me know. If you find yourself needing something really quick to put together to fill in an empty spot in your house, maybe on a table or a shelf, grab a package of these small gift boxes from Dollar Tree. One of these really pretty farmhouse style beaded frames. They're a 4x4 size. So all I did was cut out the front of the box, and I'm using the insert to trace around it to get the part that I want. And then I will simply just cut it out and stick it back in the frame. This is quite possibly the fastest DIY that I have ever done, but it turns out oh so cute. And there's no glue, so you can still continue to use the frame and use it for another season. And there's Daddy Frosty looking all happy. Please go check out my friends in the playlist below. You're going to get tons of snowman inspiration. Thank you all, ladies, for participating in this with me. And until next time, y'all go get your craft on. Bye.